back. Dilip Bhat is joining us right now to take some questions on the market. He's Joint Managing Director at Prabhudas Lilladher. Dilip, thanks very much for your time. Good to have you with us here. Prashant this side. So you're saying the market can easily add another 500-600 points from here on the Nifty, Dilip. I just like to start with that and just ask you, what is the time frame? You'd characterize this as a election rally based on hopes of a certain kind of government post-elections?
Sure. I think, very frankly, it is very evident at the moment that the markets are getting quite euphoric and also very comfortable in already predicting an outcome of a decisive mandate. This is what the current the Nifty levels are talking about. So just extrapolating further on that particular line of arguments, Nifty possibly at 7,000 looks very much possible. Maybe just before the elections or little after the elections, very much possible. Now, having said that, I think this is where the entire issue comes in, that markets clearly right now is only factoring in only one thing, the election outcome. So the fundamentals are relegated to the background at the moment. The realities of the economic slowdown are all a topic of background discussion, nothing which is really coming to the fore at the moment. So I think this is where the markets become very vulnerable. So I think as markets are all ready to strike 70,000 on 7,000 on Nifty, I think this is where we think that one should be a little more careful, one should be a little more cautious, and one should be very nimble-footed at the moment and try to take wherever they see some profit, they should take some profits. I think the approach should be one of more of caution, should be more of defensive in the approach, and should sit on some fair amount of cash, I think, as the markets run up to 7,000. So I think what we really feel is that the euphoria may take it to those levels, but slowly or surely, I think the fundamentals will catch up, and probably that will eventually track or lead the markets whichever way it goes. What is providing a solid tailwind is the good FII flow, and world over the market seems to be on fire at the moment.
I'd like you to put out your top bets right now, Dilip. What are your top bets?
Well, I think, as what I said, it has to be a mixture of caution, it has to be a mixture of little more defensive. At the same time, should things pan out very favorably for the economy and then eventually for the markets, I think some of the stocks should do well. So I think with that in mind, we still like Larsen & Toubro. I think Larsen & Toubro is, in spite and despite all the problems, perhaps is the only balance sheet which can really execute any orders of any serious size. So even if economy takes a much longer time to recover, I think Larsen & Toubro will still be there getting a good inflow of orders, still executing, because rest all its competitors have a very stressed out balance sheet and may not get that kind of confidence in getting any big ticket orders. So I think Larsen & Toubro still it has run up, but still I think that's a stock which can prove to be defensive as well as completely proactive in the longer run. I think we are still talking about something like in the auto space, a little in the auto ancillary, Motherson Sumi. I think that's a stock which probably has all the trappings of continuing its good run. I think it has a size of turnover of almost about 28,000-30,000 crores is what we are expecting in terms of top line. And I think the ROEs still continue to be upwards of 27-28, companies generating free cash. So on the rising, it is expanding, it is increasing its turnover and yet maintaining a decent ROEs and decent cash flows. So I think Motherson Sumi still looks pretty interesting. I think in the mid-cap IT space, we still like something like a KPIT, Cummins or Emphasis. Both are very, very reasonably priced. Both are very defensive, and particularly Emphasis is generating a significant amount of free cash. I think it's generating almost 1,000 crore of free cash every year on a market cap of 8,000 crores. So that also looks pretty interesting in nature. In the front line, we like Wipro reasonably okay. So I think they are just a broad pick, a mix of some of these. And in the banking space, I think I would go for ING Vaishya as a little more cautious bet, where I think the overall fundamentals still are in its favor. The valuations are still in its favor. It has not had a huge run-up, and everything seems to be pretty good for the bank. And maybe a stray bet on PSU mid-cap, and that would be UCO Bank.
KPIT, Emphasis, Motherson, you spoke about in some detail. Larsen, you spoke about in some detail. And banks, ING and UCO. Those are specific ideas.
That's
and
right.
I mean, these you hold for a considerable period of time, right? Election outcome, one
Correct.
way, other way, I mean, doesn't matter. These you'd bet on
Absolutely.
from at least a 12-month perspective.
Absolutely right.
I just want your thoughts on IDFC. There are contradictory reports on banking license, whether Election Commission is going to allow it, disallow it. We don't know. IDFC has already run up a little bit. Would you say, one should take profits because conversion into a bank would also be return dilutive?
Absolutely. So I think in the first phase, IDFC was hammered down because it had applied for a banking license, and it would dilute all its core parameters, whether it was ROA or ROEs, because as it converts itself into a bank. And then given the fact that they have led to the infra space where the stress is seen, whether it is completely reflected in IDFC or not, it doesn't matter, but the macroeconomic concerns will still weigh on IDFC. So having run up somewhat, I think I would be cautious and I would try to take some profits out of this and wait on the sidelines to buy at a reasonable levels.
ONGC, Reliance, Oil India. Dilip, what is your sense there?
Well, I think as far as the three specific stocks which you name, a lot hinges on the gas price. Now that's a very speculative thing. It's got mired in some controversy already, and I'm not too sure whether the new government also will take it as its priority agenda, which has been a subject of so much of controversy at the moment. Because this price is also important because it would ramp up the volumes both for Reliance as well as ramp up the cash flows, because one of the major source of cash flows for Reliance is the gas sales, and any increase in the price is really going to contribute towards more of the free cash for the company. So I think that becomes very crucial. So I think as far as they are concerned, the first leg of run-up has already happened, and possibly a knee-jerk reaction a little more on the upside can happen if some decisive government comes at the center. But I think beyond that, I would still be a little more cautious.
Dilip, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks very much for your time. Great having you with us here this morning. Thank you. Dilip Bhat, Joint Managing Director at Prabhudas Lilladher. Let's take a quick break. We're back in 2. Stay with us.
I like to focus.
I like to discuss.
My style, pinstripes. Always. मेरा? Everything else. मुझे business के बारे में सब आता है और मुझे show business के बारे में. I